Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I thank you all for joining us and for tuning in via live stream. As you know, today is officially the Board of Regents annual meeting, the final meeting of the academic year. In his report, Chancellor Perman will look back over the last 12 months. For my part, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Chancellor, our presidents and vice presidents, our system leadership, and the members of this board for your service and support of the USM. This work has made and continues to make a real difference for the USM and for the state. The meeting is also a time when we say farewell to some of our colleagues. This is the last meeting for Regent Robert Rao and Student Regent Farah Halal. And we will officially say farewell to Regent Bob Wallace, who left the board this past fall after more than 5 years. I want to express my thanks for their leadership and service as regents. Each of these individuals has contributed thoughtfully to the board's work and thinking, and I'm appreciative of their time and energy. Later today, we will be voting on proclamations honoring these 3 regents. You each have copies of the proclamations in your book. Next week, the Chancellor will host an event at Hidden Waters acknowledging their service and their impact. As we say farewell, we also celebrate new regents. Yvette Lewis joins us for her first meeting as a member of the board. A graduate of Howard University, Regent Lewis lives in Bowie and has a very common career of being a professional opera singer before serving as chair of the Maryland Democratic Party. On July 1st, Daruvak Marani starts his first 2 years of service as a student regent. Regent Marani is pursuing dual degrees in computer science and international relations at UMD. We look forward to working with you and getting to know you over the course of your terms. I anticipate that Governor Moore will name new regents to fill the final 2 openings on the board in the very near future. Turning our shared governance councils, I am pleased to report that all 4 chairs of our councils will be staying on next year. Faculty Council Chair Heather Haberback from Towson University, Student Council Chair Vianney Gambert from UMCP, Staff Council Chair Kalia Patricio, also from UMCP, and President's Chair Amita Bro from Bowie State University. Congratulations. I love 100% retention rate. Turning to the agenda, following the public comment, we will hear from our host this morning, Salisbury University President Carolyn Ringer-Lepre. Next, we will be the latest in our regular briefings of campus safety, followed by the education forum. Then Chancellor Perman will begin the series of reports with the annual report to the board. Before turning to President Lepre, I want to note that last month, Jay and I had the wonderful honor of presenting the 2nd annual Board of Regents Student Excellence Awards. The awards were divided into 4 categories: academics, scholarship and research, innovation and creative activity, leadership and advocacy, and outreach and engagement. Within each category, we honored 1 freshman or sophomore, 1 junior or senior, and 1 professional or graduate student. Each winner received a $2,000 scholarship. I am always truly amazed at the caliber of our outstanding and accomplished students. These students, through their academic performance, research acumen, service, and leadership activities have certainly earned this distinction. We recognized the recipients at a reception last month, and so most of them are not present today. However, I have been told that we do have one student here, Stephora Berry, who is from Salisbury. So I don't know if you're here, but if you are, please stand. Photos were taken at the event, and they've been featured at the beginning of this morning's meeting. Their names are noted in the agenda and will be entered into the meeting minutes. Please join me in congratulating all of the winners. And so with that, we'll go into public comment. And I have been informed that we do not have any requests from speakers, so we will move directly to the consent agenda. President LaPree, the floor is yours. And I want to thank you again. I couldn't be here myself, but I heard dinner was spectacular. So thank you for hosting us.
My pleasure. Thank you, Chair Gooden. It is my pleasure to welcome you, Chancellor Perman, all the Regents, fellow university presidents, guests, and visitors to Salisbury University and our beautiful, beautiful Eastern Shore. It is a privilege to host you on our amazing campus, which is an incredible place to learn and work. And I hope you have a chance today to get out and explore our 200-acre grounds, which have been designated as an internationally accredited arboretum. Here you can discover more than 3,000 trees, including several Maryland State Champion trees and a vast collection of plant species. As we have just completed our academic year, concluding with our commencement ceremonies 3 weeks ago, at which we graduated more than 1,300 students, we now have an opportunity to reflect on the past academic year. I am proud to report that Salisbury University has continued to excel and advance our strategic mission. Our commitment to academic and teaching excellence, community engagement, and student success remains unwavering. Salisbury University is special for many reasons. As a regional comprehensive university with approximately 7,200 graduate and undergraduate students, we are distinctly student-centered. Our focus is on providing an education that is both accessible and transformative, ensuring that every student has the opportunity to succeed. Our faculty and staff are dedicated to fostering an environment where students can explore their passions, develop their skills, and prepare for meaningful careers and lives of purpose. In order to fulfill that mission, we strive to engage with prospective students throughout the year and show why an SU education can help make their dreams come true. And thanks to the efforts of many, we look forward to welcoming a strong first-year class to SU this fall. Our numbers today show that it will be the largest first-year class in university history, standing at more than 1,480 students who we cannot wait to welcome to our flock. Within the University System of Maryland, Salisbury University plays a crucial role. We serve as a hub of innovation and learning on the Eastern Shore, contributing significantly to the educational and economic vitality of our region. As the third largest employer in Wicomico County, we not only help to educate the next generation of Maryland's workforce, but we support the economies of the entire lower Eastern Shore. And our efforts have not gone unnoticed. Salisbury University has been consistently ranked among the top regional universities in the North by U.S. News & World Report. We have also been recognized by the Princeton Review as one of the best colleges in the Northeast, and our commitment to sustainability has earned us a spot on the Sierra Club's list of cool schools. And we continue to be recognized as a Carnegie community-engaged campus, something that we are incredibly proud of, as we know how vital it is for us not just to be located in the city of Salisbury and Wicomico County, but to be a part of it. This year, we made significant strides toward continuing our investment in downtown Salisbury. We are excited to be collaborating with the Wicomico Public Library on a project that will establish not only what we believe will be the finest library on the Eastern Shore and possibly in the state of Maryland. Following a successful Wicomico County Council vote a few weeks ago, the downtown branch of the library will be able to move their Paul S. Sarbanes branch, which is currently located in downtown Salisbury, to the SU-owned Shoemaker Pond building, the former home of the Ward Museum. Not wanting to leave a gap in our up-and-coming downtown district, the university has plans to build a brand new $100 million performing arts center in its place over the years. This partnership, where two world-class community assets will be built or significantly enhanced, not only benefits our students, but also it will benefit our entire region. Each accolade and achievement reflects the hard work, dedication, and commitment of our faculty, staff, and students, and what they do for our community and beyond. Signs of progress are all around us, and you may have noticed as you came into campus today some of the construction fences that are going up. These fences are visual reminders as we start the renovation of Blackwell Hall, our former library. We are thrilled to see this work begin. As our biggest capital project in a decade, every space in the building is being redesigned with great intentionality. First and foremost, the renovated Blackwell Hall will serve as a one-stop shop for student support services such as advising, career services, financial aid, the registrar, and more, providing a more caring and thoughtful approach to onboarding our students. But even more than this, excitingly, the building was designed to create a hub, a physical space for the high-impact practices that we want our students to engage with, as we know their participation contributes significantly to the belongingness that they feel while they are here and to their ultimate successes pre- and post-graduation. Offices for our honors program, first-year programs, study abroad, undergraduate research, fellowships, and more will be found inside this new dynamic building. And I would like to thank the University System of Maryland, the Regents, and the state, as your support has been instrumental in getting us to this stage. We wished to design a space that students would want to spend time in, and one that would also lead them easily and encouragingly to the kinds of activities that are the cornerstones of a Salisbury University education. And with your support, this wish is becoming a reality. Starting this fall, these activities, these high-impact practices that Salisbury University is known for, will be more tightly woven into our academic offerings. Our new general education program incorporates these practices directly into the curriculum, ensuring that all students have the opportunity to engage with things like research, study abroad, and internships, no matter what their major. High-quality academics will always be at the core of the mission of Salisbury University, providing a strong foundation for learning and intellectual growth. However, it is the high-impact opportunities that we offer, such as our Clark Honors College, nationally recognized athletics, first-generation programs, and more, that truly define the student experience, allowing them to apply their knowledge to real-world settings and develop the skills that will serve them throughout their lives. And each day, we get to see these life-changing opportunities in action. Last year, we were named the nation's #1 master's-level producer of Fulbright students. Continuing this tradition of excellence, this year, we have 4 SU students who were granted Fulbright awards, along with 2 faculty members and 1 administrator. Wow. Our athletic teams have celebrated 23 Division III national championships, including our most recent 2023 national championship in men's lacrosse, and nearly 200 conference championships. Our Office of Undergraduate Research and Creativity is home to one of the only undergraduate student research journals in the nation. And recognized by ASCII's American Democracy Project for its good work, our Institute for Public Affairs and Civic Engagement is home to nearly a dozen programs that support community engagement and the advancement of the public good, including our AmeriCorps program, which we call ShoreCorps, that annually produces more than 35,000 hours of service to the Eastern Shore community. And we continue to expand our study abroad and study away initiatives, signing MOUs across the globe, including one that we just signed yesterday with the Nubian American Advanced College in Nigeria, in an effort to expand opportunities for students in every corner of the world. These experiences ensure that each student can tailor their journey to their unique interests and goals. This individualized approach is part of what makes Salisbury University truly special, as no two student journeys are the same, and each one is rich with opportunities for growth and discovery. But I think that the best people to speak about the impact of these opportunities are our students themselves. And so it is now my pleasure to introduce you to 3 of these exceptional students. First, you will hear from Stefora Caesar Alberi, a rising senior, a computer science major, and a presidential citizen scholar, who, as you just noted, was just recently named as one of the Board of Regents' Student Excellence Scholarship winners. Second, you will hear from Abby Mace, now a 2-time alumna of SU and a 4-time All-American softball player, who is the greatest hitter in SU softball history, setting a program record of 64 home runs. She also led the nation in the most home runs in all of Division III during this past 2024 season. And third, I'm pleased to introduce Leanne Peach, a rising senior political science major and honors student who has made it her mission to leave Salisbury and all of Wicomico County a better place it was than she arrived. Each of them has a unique story to tell about their journey at Salisbury University and the ways that these high-impact practices have shaped their academic and personal development. So please join me in welcoming at this time Stefora, Abby, and Leanne.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stefora Caesar Alberi, and I am a computer science major here at SU, entering my final year of undergrad. I wanted to share some of the amazing experiences and opportunities that SU has offered me throughout the years. When I initially entered SU as a freshman, I was quite intimidated, to say the least. Being a first-generation student and an immigrant, it was hard to navigate everything at first. So I did what I know best at that time, and I hid. My routine consisted of strictly going to classes and going home straight after. I didn't get involved with anything on campus, and I strayed away from making friends. This was only for the first semester of my freshman year, until one day, not on purpose, I attended an involvement fair the following spring semester. SU holds this event every semester so that each organization on campus can promote their club and upcoming event to any interested students. That was when I found the Caribbean Student Association Club. The members were so welcoming, and it was the very first time that I felt a safe space that made me feel safe on campus. So I decided to join the CSA Club that semester and quickly earned my position as an SGA representative on the executive board. Going into my sophomore year, I felt a little bit more comfortable on campus. It was still very intimidating, but I was adjusting to my environment. In the fall semester, I discovered TRIO, a resource on campus that caters to first-generation students. Finding TRIO was like finding the golden ticket to the How to Navigate College guide. It was my personal Willy Wonka moment. TRIO not only became a safe space for me, but it also provided me with immense opportunities that I never could have imagined. TRIO opened up possibilities for studying abroad, considering grad school, learning about leadership and community, and connecting with other organizations that I didn't even know existed on campus. I can only thank TRIO for where I am right now. Then came my second semester of sophomore year when things completely changed for me. I joined the Presidential Citizen Scholars Program here on campus, where I conducted an intensive research project on road safety in the west side of Salisbury, an area which houses one of the largest marginalized communities in the city. The project was a year long and done with 2 other cohort members, collecting community feedback through an RIB-approved survey. Through the success of the project, we were able to collaborate with the City of Salisbury Department of Transportation and Shore Transit, our Eastern Shore Regional Transit Agency, to implement the West Side's first ever bus stop. During that time, as crazy as it sounds, I conducted 2 other research projects. One was in mathematical computation and theory under the National Science Foundation RIU program here at SU, and another focused on artificial intelligence, where I collaborated with Dr. Peter Wong, one of the computer science professors at SU, to develop a high-performance deep learning model for emotion detection and recognition. With these projects, I was able to get a publication with Cornell University and participate in multiple conferences. I also participated during this time period in the Washington Center's first ever cybersecurity acceleration program with the help of SU's Institute of Public Affairs and Civic Engagement. Fast forwarding to now, I have had the pleasure to partner with the Trash Free Maryland organization through the Computer Science Department to develop a user-friendly app responsible for collecting data on cleanups, which will be used for lobbying for legislation to reduce pollution in the state of Maryland. And to finish this long-winded list, I am also preparing to study abroad at the University of Tartu this summer in Estonia to take a computer vision and space course. I will learn the mechanism of machine learning and artificial intelligence to apply those skills in Estonia's first ever space rover platform, Kupliker. Wow. Looking back on all of these amazing experiences makes me truly realize what I could have missed if I continued hiding like I did in the first semester of my freshman year. SU has dramatically changed my life and has played a huge part in not only developing me as a student, but also as a young adult. Who would have thought me, a shy first-generation student who had no idea what they were doing at first, could do so many things in a short amount of time? I have gained lifelong lessons that will benefit my academic, career, and personal endeavors, and I hope that there is more in store for me in my final year here at Salisbury University.
Thank you, Sephora. I too have just been really reflecting about the lifelong experiences and the impact that Salisbury University has left on me. My name's Abby Mace, a recent graduate from Salisbury University, and I've been thinking about the impact of one point and one moment. And it's one point that is the difference between passing and failing an exam. One point is the difference between winning and losing the national championship. It's a difference between an approach to treatment with the students I worked with in the counseling center here at Salisbury University for my internship. It's a potential difference between an award I didn't receive recently. I wouldn't be honoring myself if I didn't say that I was and am extremely disappointed that I didn't receive Division III National Softball Player of the Year. However, I'm so grateful because I was reminded that my disappointment is valid, but it isn't the whole picture. It's a moment in time that offers an opportunity for me to reflect and choose how to move forward as I have just graduated from Salisbury. Throughout my time here, recently graduating with my master's degree in social work, completing an internship at the counseling center on campus, and competing at the highest level of softball in Division III, I've been shaped to be the person that is standing here today. When people think and hear the name Abby Mace, softball is probably the first thing that comes to mind. The laundry list of awards and accolades, the records that were broken, the history that was made, and the legacy that will be left. Eventually, these things won't hold as much significance, and that's okay with me. The last 5 years have taught me that 1 minute will always be more important than 1 point. I hope what is never forgotten by my coaches, my teammates, my fans, and all the people that I encountered along the way when they hear the name Abby Mace is empathy, passion, love, and most importantly, impact. It took 1 minute for the Hall of Fame coach, Margie Knight, who coached me at the time when I began as a freshman, to empower and encourage me that my voice mattered on and off the field. It took 1 minute for Dr. Lepre, the president here, to find our team after we lost in the national championship last year to tell us how proud she was of us, regardless of the outcome. It took 1 minute for my professors every day to ask, "How are you?" and really care. It took 1 minute for my supervisor at the counseling center here to compliment me on how much I've grown as a professional and a person over the last year working with college students in the field of mental health. These brief but profound moments left a significant impact on my life. Impact, I believe, happens when one person is not scared of the light that's within themselves. I think it's often misunderstood that people are most fearful of the darkness that's within, which I have found to be true. When I set foot on this campus as a freshman, it wasn't the darkness that scared me the most. It was all the good, all the gifts, all of the ways that I could shine that truly scared me the most. I was always noticed on the softball field, but never felt truly seen, and that felt vulnerable and terrifying. It was only until I was surrounded by my coaches, my teammates, my peers, that let their light shine that gave me permission to do the same. As I've learned to accept the good that's inside of me, all the ways that I shine on and off the field, the ways that I care and love, I too give permission for people to be their most authentic self. I strive to create a presence that allows people to feel safe and loved, a space that is so difficult to find in the world we live in today. I've been impacted by Salisbury University and the athletic department in ways I don't even think I've realized yet. People from all departments, but especially my coaches, have taught me that my voice has power, my presence is valued. My experience at Salisbury University has taught me that 1 minute will always be far more important than 1 point. That my light, my life, my story is meant to shine so bright that it touches those around me, and that my inner light may illuminate the darkness in others. So that 1 point won't define me, and I'm choosing to move forward without my light being dimmed at all. My story as a student athlete at Salisbury University may be over, but the impact will carry on for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abby. I want to say that I am honored to be here to speak with two of my peers, and I also want to thank President LaPree and her office again for inviting me to speak today about how SU has impacted me and shaped my experiences over the past few years. So my name is Leanne Peach, and I am a rising senior here at SU. I am a political science major, and I have a minor in economics. So that being said, when I look back on my freshman year self, I don't recognize her. In the best way possible, freshman Leanne was merely a shell of who I am today. I was timid, anxious, and unsure of who I was and what I wanted in life. 3 years later, and I feel like a new person. I've redeveloped my interests, chased after my dreams, and discovered a newfound wonder for life and opportunity. Through my many experiences, both on and off campus, I have learned how to be a devoted leader, an effective communicator, and a dedicated researcher. I have developed and grown and blossomed as a person, and I have SU and the many opportunities I've been offered here to thank for shaping me into who I am today. So you can consider this my official love letter to SU. So with that, dear Salisbury University, with your guidance and support, I've been able to participate in 2 internships with the Maryland State Government. One with the Office of the Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller, and one that I'm currently in with the Office of the Secretary Jake Day in the Department of Housing and Community Development. With the help of Dr. Kristen Walton and the entire Fellowships Office, I have been awarded a Critical Language Spark Scholarship to virtually learn Chinese Mandarin this summer, which, as an adopted Chinese American, has been a goal of mine ever since I was a child. Through the Presidential Citizen Scholars Program, I was able to expand access to menstrual products in Wicomico County middle schools and increase awareness about period poverty and menstrual stigma. I have been honored to present at several research conferences, including the National Conference on Undergraduate Research, Posters on the Bay, and the SU Women's Forum Conference twice, which I couldn't have done without the mentorship and assistance of the Office of Undergraduate Research and Creative Activity, and of course the Clark Honors College. Additionally, I've been able to publish research in Laraday, which is our undergraduate research journal, and I am now the co-editor-in-chief for the upcoming edition. One involvement of mine that I'm particularly excited about in the upcoming year is FLAIR, which stands for Freedom, Learning, and Advocacy for Reproductive Equity. FLAIR was founded this past year and is a chapter of Planned Parenthood Generation Action. As such, we strive to mobilize advocates, raise awareness, and educate about reproductive rights, justice, and freedom. I'm so glad that you, SU, support the creation of new organizations like ours so we can provide resources and education around reproductive healthcare topics that we know affect college students directly. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that the people here are irreplaceable. The faculty and the staff truly care about their students, not just academically, but mentally, emotionally, and professionally too. I've met some of my best friends and my best supporters here, especially within the student government and the Clark Honors College, faculty, staff, and students alike. They have lifted me out of my darkest and loneliest times, and without their continued encouragement, I might have even dropped out of college a few years ago. Instead, because of them, I can use all that I've learned to help others and hopefully enact real change in the world. The profound importance of civic engagement and community service are forever ingrained into me and will be the foundation of all of my future endeavors. I now have a deeper sense of inner knowledge and peace, a moral and ethical compass that guides me. And I wouldn't have that without you, Salisbury. So thank you for the opportunities, thank you for the memories, and thank you for wherever I'll go in the future. With love, Leanne Peach. Thank you.
What amazing accomplishments. Let's give the students another round of applause.
So to close, I hope that you all see that the experiences and achievements that were just shared are a testament to the transformative power of education and the opportunities available at Salisbury University. And I don't know about all of you, but for me, listening to our students in their own words reaffirms for me why we do what we do every single day, because these are the lives that we are working to change. Our mission goes beyond imparting knowledge. It is about shaping futures, fostering growth, and empowering our students to make a difference in the world. And the stories we've heard today illustrate the heart of our purpose and the reason we strive for excellence every day. So we at Salisbury University are deeply grateful to everyone who makes this work possible, our dedicated faculty and staff, our supportive community, the University System of Maryland, the Regents, for their continuous investment in our vision. Your contributions enable us to provide a rich, diverse, and inclusive educational experience that prepares our students for success in an ever-changing world. So thank you all for being here today, for your unwavering support, and for believing in the mission of Salisbury University, an institution I am incredibly proud to be able to serve, because I know together we are creating a brighter future for our students and the region we serve. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Dr. LaPree, for that warm welcome and for this room. Shouldn't the room get some type of applause? I mean, this is gorgeous. Next, we have Chief Edwin Lashley, Salisbury University's Chief of Police, who will deliver this meeting's security vignette. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Truly honored and very appreciative to be here this morning to get a little bit of your time to tell you how we are going about securing the campus so that students can have a safe environment to receive the instruction that they receive in the community, the greater Salisbury community, as well can feel safe visiting our campus for whatever reason. I'll start with telling you a little bit about the composition of the police department and myself in general. I'm not going to read every bullet that you have on the screen. Hopefully you can see that information, but obviously we're a 24/7, 365 police department like they all are in the system. We are a fully accredited police department. We've been accredited since 2013. We're very proud of that achievement. We're one of 3 police departments within Wycomico County that have that distinction. As a matter of fact, we have our 4th certification coming up in August where the assessors will be on campus to reevaluate our policies and procedures. Who's running the helm here at Salisbury University? I've been here since 2005 after a distinguished career with the Maryland State Police, where I retired as second in command of the State Police, Lieutenant Colonel, After, I'm not telling, 28 years is a long time, so you can do the math, getting up there. But we have 2 officers today that are actually graduating after a 6-month stint in the police academy, and we're looking forward to bringing those individuals on board. One of the things that we're truly proud of, and we appreciate the trust that our allied agencies have in us in entering in various memorandums of understanding, which enable us to respond to activities off campus where our students reside, businesses, bars, restaurants, any particular calls for service. It does not enable us to become the primary law enforcement department in those areas. However, in the event that the resources are stretched with the municipalities, the counties, we certainly can respond in their stead, wait their arrival, take police action, and we're covered legally for doing so. We have these agreements with the Wycomico County Sheriff's Office and the City of Salisbury Police Department. We also have mutual aid agreements with pretty much every jurisdiction within Wycomico County. These mutual aid agreements enable us to share resources in the event that they're necessary. We have, in fact, shared our resources with some of the police departments in their schools. If they have a major event and they need perimeter or they need additional officers, and vice versa. These mutual aid agreements are really important during if you have an emergency or some type of event on campus where our resources can't accommodate. The impact of the MOU, in my view, the last 3 bullets are the most important. Members of the campus, students and community obviously feel safer as a result. Helps SU build stronger community relationships, not only with our campus community, but with the greater community that surrounds our university. And it definitely serves as a deterrent. The concept was presented, I presented the concept to city authorities and the counties years ago in response to our students being away from campus during winter breaks. We have a large population of students off campus, close proximity of our university. During winter breaks, there were many times they would come back, return from their winter break, and find that their properties had been burglarized or damaged. We did not have the legal authority to be proactive in those situations, so I was able to convince the administration at the university and city officials that it would be prudent for us to engage and deploy our officers in that capacity off campus during those particular times. And I can proudly say that we've had very few burglaries since that occurred. We used to get them in high numbers, so the MOU in that regard has certainly truly paid off. The number of partnerships. Partnerships are extremely important, as we all know. We're proud to have internal partnerships, external partnerships. The ones that are most useful, the ones that I engage in and enjoy the most, are the partnerships that we have internally with the various groups on our campus. The partnerships off campus with other law enforcement agencies, I think in a lot of cases they look to Salisbury University Police and the leadership of the university to actually lead them. In many capacities, we have gathered individuals together to share information. The president of the university has developed a police advisory group, which the cabinet attends those meetings, which occur probably monthly, I would say, during the course of the academic season, during the academic terms. And we found that collaboration, those meetings, are not just meet and greet, but to share information. The cabinet gets a firsthand view, a firsthand look at what other police departments are facing, some of the projects that they're working on, and we collectively come together and collaborate on how we can be a part of that, and in some cases, how we can lead in that regard. Building access, since 2022, we have restricted access somewhat on campus. We have individuals that are assigned to particular buildings have 24-hour access through their Gall card. Students have access during regular business hours to all of our buildings. We have visitors access that visitors can receive a visitor's pass by either going online, or they can enter or come to Holloway Hall, where we man a security booth and we issue the credentials for a day pass or whatever they need. It's not a panacea. It won't solve all of our concerns with security and unwanted guests that could do harm to our campus, but it certainly creates an impediment for them, and it, I think in the long run, it has made the campus safer. There are some buildings, like I say, the Academic Commons, which is our library, is staffed by security. So that's pretty much open to the public. They can come to the front door, and the security will administer them the appropriate credentials. And also Holloway Hall, which is our administrative building, they have access to that as well. So they didn't give me much time, so hopefully I'm on board with the time parameters, and I really appreciate this opportunity. Sure, if you have any questions, I'm willing to ask them or answer them. If not, thank you very much.
Any questions for the chief? Bill?
Good morning, Chief. In the District of Columbia, a number of years ago, there was an emergency, and when the first responders reported to the emergency, they found that they couldn't communicate with each other because they were on different frequencies from different departments. I mentioned it at a couple of meetings because it was such a significant occurrence in the District of Columbia. So my question is, with respect to first responders that would come to an emergency on this campus, are you aware of whether there is a common frequency for each of those first responders so everybody can communicate with each other?
Yes, sir. And that situation is problematic nationwide with law enforcement. It's not a problem here in Wycomico County and Salisbury University. In the event of a critical emergency where we have to require the presence of several police departments, we can switch to a common channel and communicate. And we meet with our colleagues to, this information sharing and this collaboration we have. We take a leadership role, and it's very clear what each agency's responsibility shall be in the event that they have to respond on campus. Depending on how long the event occurs, initially Salisbury University Police will take control of that. We will require responding agencies to comply with our needs, and we do have the ability to engage them on a individual channel.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the chief? Hearing none.
Yeah.
Oh, Kurt?
Yeah, Chief.
Yes,
I noticed a significant number of signs about human trafficking as we were coming down. Are you involved in your MOUs with the other government law enforcement agencies dealing with the human trafficking issue?
The human trafficking issue, if we were to have a concern or a problem with that on our campus, we would definitely engage with them in a collaborative effort to jointly address that. We have not experienced any of our students being victims of human trafficking. I know it is a problem with some of our other agencies. We have not have an active role in eradicating that. We've not been asked. We have not recognized an issue on our campus. Should that become an acute matter, we will definitely, I will insist on being at the table with that, sir.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, seeing none, thank you for a very informative presentation.
Thank you very much.
We now move to the Education Forum. Our topic today is Enabling Student Support Staff. Martina Hansen is UMGC's Senior Vice President and Chief Student Affairs Officer, and she will be speaking with us about how institutions are leveraging AI, particularly as it's related to student support staff. Martina's background is centered around increasing persistence, retention, and the institution's various measures of student success. Ms. Hansen, the floor is yours. Okay. Oh, well, I think Greg is going to introduce her.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chair Gooden, Regents, Chancellor Perman, fellow presidents. It seems that artificial intelligence and machine learning are on everyone's mind right now, no doubt driven in part by the sensational headlines that you see. At UMGC over the past few decades, we've navigated the rise of a number of innovative and disruptive technologies, including online learning, the metaversity, MOOCs, and more. And we've learned to be wary, careful indeed, to distinguish signal from noise. One of my colleagues notes that major technologies often underachieve in the short term and overachieve in the long term. For example, there have never been more people listening to music or news than are doing so right now, and few that anticipated that when those industries were first disrupted. So we at UMGC have approached these technologies with cautious optimism, seeking always to realize tangible, short-term results, evaluating them thoughtfully, and then learning to build on our success. Today, I've asked two members of our team, Chief Student Affairs Officer Martina Hansen and Chief Transformation Officer Christopher McCall, to discuss some of our early engagement with machine learning, using it to scale activities, launch new initiatives, and prepare for what's to come. As we do this, we are keenly aware of the issues that a school like UMGC must bear in mind. We work closely with legal affairs, IT, DEI, and others to explore issues such as data security, the potential proliferation of biases, and much more. We recognize that it's our duty to remain diligent as we explore these new technologies and pathways for accessibility and accountability. So with that context in mind, I am pleased to invite Martina and Chris to the podium to discuss some of the experiences that we've had to date.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning, Madam Chair, Chancellor Perman, members of the Board of Regents, presidents, University System of Maryland colleagues, and guests. Thank you for the opportunity today to speak to you about our AI journey at the University of Maryland Global Campus. My name is Martina Hansen. I'm the Senior Vice President and Chief Student Affairs Officer. I'm joined here today with Chris McCall, UMGC's Chief Transformation Officer. Both Chris and I strive to advance the effectiveness, efficiency, and ease of the learner experience and support mechanisms, and informing ways that as an institution, we can leverage innovative strategies and tools to help more students get what they came for at UMGC. I'm going to share the story of UMGC's AI journey. Our journey so far includes the development of our AI strategy, building a strong foundation for the ethical and responsible use of AI, the identification of proofs of concept, our AI development approach, and 2 examples of how AI is creating value for UMGC. These tools are a great benefit to us, and Chris will walk you through the examples in more detail later on in our presentation. AI is an important tool that can support transformation in so many ways. And at UMGC, we are approaching AI as a partner and leveraging it to improve the life of our faculty, staff, and students. According to the 2024 EDUCAUSE AI landscape study, respondents had general agreement of the most appropriate uses for AI, as well as the opportunities to use AI to improve higher education. At the top of both of those lists were the use to personalize student support, services, and advising, and to ease administrative processes, and that's where we've started our AI journey. Our journey started almost a year ago. At the beginning and in the development of our AI strategy, we recognized that if we treat it as a general purpose technology or only to apply it in isolated situations, we will squander its true potential. And so our AI mission includes goals and objectives and focus on value creation and addressing education industry challenges. To achieve value creation, we needed skills and competencies for leading UMGC's AI initiatives, and we had considerations for AI technology, data management, and talent, all of these being critical for building our AI foundation and for its success. The support needed to be successful across several functions, as Greg mentioned, and included infrastructure, tools, and expertise to ensure successful implementation and integration. It also included, and still includes, setting boundaries through AI governance and policy development. With an AI strategy defined and initiated, with skills and competencies on board, and a strong AI foundation, our AI journey continued, and we defined strategic areas to explore the use of AI. A deeper look at those strategic areas showed opportunities for strategic proof of concepts, which supported both our strategic plan and created value. Within our strategic plan, our fourth priority is to provide a responsive, tailored, and seamless experience to maximize the success of our diverse learners. Within that priority, there are several key initiatives that continue to strengthen the learner experience through transformative human support, such as success coaching, leveraging data for impactful and meaningful early alerts and interventions, training our teams to use technology to support their engagement with students, and removing roadblocks for students, such as receiving credit for prior learning. These were high-impact areas aligned with our strategic plan where AI could create real value for UMGC. While creating value was a fundamental part of our strategy, it was also important to achieve our proof of concepts because the product would be used to showcase the capabilities of AI within UMGC. We may have skeptics about the use of AI, and we wanted to create buy-in along the way. The method for how we would build a proof of concept was also important in our AI journey. To create value, we needed user adoption rates to be high, and we could achieve both of those goals with co-creating a product where both the end users and developers had high interaction, met regularly, shared feedback, and both teams having the goal of ensuring the solution created value for both staff and students. We now have completed the development of 2 AI initiatives, and we have been successful in doing so. Already, these AI initiatives are showing promising outcomes in student support, resource allocation, training, and more. As always, with the overarching goal of adding comprehensive value to the educational landscape. These efforts are consistent with UMGC's history of innovation, which rests on a foundation of exploration that embraces change, challenges the status quo, and adopts what works. I'm excited about what we have and what we are achieving. I am pleased to turn it over to Chris McCall now, who will share our AI proof of concepts and initiatives in more detail.
Thanks, Martina. So to demonstrate the potential of AI, UMGC launched several strategic proof of concepts. These projects showcase the capabilities of AI in various aspects of the institution's operations, from student support to administrative processes. The success of these POCs generated enthusiasm and support for the AI initiatives across the university. The first one, Virtual Student Success Coach Assistant. One of the first major internal AI POCs implementations is a Virtual Success Coach Assistant. This AI-driven platform is revolutionizing the way success coaches interact with students, making the process more efficient and more effective. Coaches can now handle inquiries more swiftly, allowing them to focus on building stronger relationships with our students. This platform is more than just a chatbot. It was designed as an assistant for our frontline staff to use. In the past, our success coaches would have to search multiple documents, websites, internal resources, and more to find answers for our students' questions. But with the new assistant, all of those resources have been indexed, and they can be easily, our student success coaches can easily ask questions of the assistant to get those documented responses with links to source materials. The assistant also helps consolidate notes while they speak with students, and it can also generate email responses back to the students when they are finished. This proof of concept is integrated with some of our other systems, so our success coaches can get basic information about the students without needing to log in and manage the other systems in their ecosystem. The current teams testing the assistant have provided great feedback and have been key in developing the tool so it works specifically for them. We plan to roll it out to additional success coaches and eventually the entire team over the summer. From there, we will determine how we can bring different types of assistance to other teams across UMGC. Supporting our military students. So another significant milestone was the development of an AI-driven credit recognition for military students. UMGC prides itself on being military-friendly, yet acknowledges that we have an opportunity to fully leverage the unique capabilities and insights derived from military service. While we adopt ACE recommendations, we recognize the need for a more comprehensive approach in recognizing various aspects of military experiences for credit purposes. So our idea was to leverage our internal insights into UMGC courses, our credit processes, ACE recommendations, our extensive military knowledge, and to utilize generative AI to accurately map skills from UMGC courses and military training and experiences to determine any alignment. From there, it generated our proof of concept. It consisted of multiple uses of AI. The first one, we ran UMGC courses, their information through generative AI to determine if there's alignment to the OSN Skill Library of Business Skills. Number two, we used AI to determine baseline skills acquired from military training and the schools that military service members go through, and documented that proof points for our academic teams. Number three, we built a series of generative AI prompts to determine alignment between the skills acquired through military experiences using rank as a proxy and the case ads acquired through UMGC academic courses. So our solution was working across multiple departments at UMGC, including our registrar, the business school, our military operations team. We analyzed the generative AI output, and the academic team confirmed that we could offer various management and leadership courses credit for military rank. So ranks of E5 could get 3 credits, E6 could get 6 credits, and E8 would get 12 credits. So for this to work at UMGC, we also needed a scalable technology solution that would not negatively impact staff or students with extra work. So we developed automated processes linked from the student application to automatically award credit based on the student's rank. This project went live May 6th of 2024. And a month later, over 450 military applications qualified for some amount of credit, and close to 100 students have already submitted the required documentation to get those credits. So, as I mentioned, so we have 2 proof of concepts that have gained quite a bit of traction, and we have a whole host of other POCs in the wings waiting for us to get to that work, and we're extremely excited about what the future holds for UMGC working with AI. And if there's any questions, we're happy to answer those right now.
I have one. How do you measure the success of this activity?
So for the first one, I believe that the activity is successful when we recognize that our team members are able to have better, more engaging conversations with our students, and to kind of to take away a lot of the administrative tasks that are associated with servicing students, which in turn should allow us to have better experiences for our students to increase their NPS scores, to ultimately increase retention and persistence. So those are the metrics that we'll look at to ultimately see how successful that is. With the second one, as we are awarding additional credits for military students, that should allow them to have a better affinity for UMGC. So they're a little bit further along in their degree programs, so they should be able to graduate quicker, and the retention rate should be higher from that also. And that is information that we will also be tracking as this progresses.
Okay. Other questions?
Yes. Thank you. I noticed a formula that some former students at the university had developed that went to the issue of retention and quality of life on the campus and how they can address that. and to be sort of proactive, the university. They develop internally a program. Now, what you've described here is internal, basically within the system, at least the global campus, correct?
Correct.
All right. Is that transferable or capable of being utilized by other throughout the campus, or would we look at potentially something that would be totally different? How is that potentially shared?
So I think laying the foundations of this work, I think ultimately it is scalable. It's
Speak to the mic. It's a little bit hard hearing. Yeah.
sorry. I absolutely believe that this has the opportunity to be utilized across other organizations and to use those foundations to build upon.
President Fowler, I think you had mentioned to me that you are working with other organizations who have tools that address Regent Leggett's question.
Yes, so can you hear me okay? Yes, we are actually looking at a number of organizations, both through our direct work with the things that Chris is talking about, but also through Accelerate and some of the other groups that we are working with. There are a number of places across the organizations that are looking for ways to take all of these various things, increase student success, and move them forward by, to use the phrase that we talk about, remove the administrivia of the work to allow for the consolidation of all the various relationships that a student might have, whether it's in financial aid, whether it's with academic affairs. And it goes well beyond what you see with the CRM system. As Chris noted, for example, a lot of this can literally, while you're doing the work, consolidate it into a space and then respond in real time to it, which will allow a lot of other schools and institutions to do similar types of things to help their students as well.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, thank you for the presentation. And we'll move on to the Chancellor's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. I will begin by also welcoming our newest regent, Regent Lewis. We're so honored you've joined this board. I look forward, as we all do, to our work together. And I would like to add my deepest thanks to the regents who are departing service to the USM. Regent Halal, Regent Rao. It's been a true honor to work with both of you. And if I may, I'd like us to remember again our dear friend and colleague, Regent Peters, whose life of service inspires the work that sadly we must take on without him. I thank our hosts this morning, President LaPree and Salisbury University. Many of us, travel a long way to be here, but there's always a payoff. Thank you so much. Your warm hospitality always shows. I'd like to say just a bit about the Student Excellence Scholarship winners that we celebrated last month. You saw the pictures with the presidents. Every time I meet students who earn these awards, I am just so impressed. And I know you share that. I can't figure out how they find enough hours in the day to pack in so much important work, important scholarship, leadership, service, but they do, and then they go looking for more. And I need to confess that I ended up that day inviting one of those students to join me for my Tuesday afternoon clinic. President Shears Ashby, I thank you for my newest recruit, Dariush Alagolizadeh, who is doing phenomenal work in biomedical science. And he's just an example. As Chair Gooden mentioned, the June board report serves as a year in review, which is a responsibility that falls to me. I did think I heard a few groans when you mentioned that I was going to recap the year. It's a good sign that I'd never be able to do justice to the year we had. So I'm going to hit only some of the highlights. I hope the presidents hear that so I don't get complaints. The written report is much lengthier, but truly even it can't contain the sum of our excellence. I hope you all feel the pride that I do each June as I come to report these accomplishments. So let me recount some of our university's recent good news, but also some of their biggest achievements over the past 12 months. And let me begin with our host today, which is only fitting, Salisbury University. There's a lot to celebrate here on campus. A new graduate school, a new research office to undergird Salisbury's ambitions in growing research, new partnerships like one with NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, opening up the aerospace industry to Salisbury students. But you should also, and Lynn talked about it, venture into downtown Salisbury, where SU's impact is beginning to transform. From locating the new Museum of Eastern Shore Culture in the city to spearheading, as you heard, a downtown performing arts center, Salisbury lives its mission to anchor and invigorate this community. So what does it mean when a university isn't just in its community, but of its community? For Salisbury, it means things like deploying trained tutors in Wicomico County public schools and bringing Wicomico County children to the campus. You were doing that yesterday as we were having dinner. SU students and retired educators are providing rigorous intervention aimed at improving middle and high school students' math proficiency, especially among the county's highest need students. And that's where we go, right? Our institutions go where the need is. Coppin State inked a partnership with Baltimore City to place nursing students and RNs in public schools that struggle to staff pediatric nurses. UMB is partnering with Coppin and UMBC to place more than 100 social work students each year in Maryland schools where they can provide on-site mental health services. Wonderful for the community, wonderful for our students. UMB and the universities at Shady Grove are teaming up to place nursing students in Prince George's County public libraries where they can serve patients they might never see in a clinic, a place to get advice. UBALT's new urban conflict manager program is taking its training to the streets, literally. UBALT is training leaders of Baltimore's Safe Streets program in conflict management and violence prevention. And UBALT just raised the stakes on its engagement with city schools. UBALT will host students from President Schmoke's alma mater, the great City College, while that high school is renovated. So how about that? High school students on a college campus, something that we need to think about and pursue. In Western Maryland's UMSE's Appalachian Lab, they're partnering with Allegheny County to provide access to its research services and facilities. That's a county-funded program which offers local companies up to $50,000 to cover the cost of R&D conducted in partnership with the lab. The point is to spark innovation and product development that leads to sustainable jobs in that region. And in Anne Arundel County, Bowie State is reimagining what was the notorious Crownsville State Hospital, founded in 1911 and called the Hospital for the Negro Insane. BSU will help transform that psychiatric facility, now remembered for the trauma its patients endured, into a place of healing. Education and research programs will focus on health and wellness and will champion mental health reform. So in every part of the state, we're going where the need is and putting our expertise to work. And that expertise is cultivated in our academic programs, which we evolve to prepare students for success in the world, not just the world that we know, but the world we anticipate. So UMES won approval to pursue its School of Veterinary Medicine this past year. That'll be the first in Maryland and the second at a U.S. HBCU. Last month, the school was included, the veterinary school proposal was included in a federal funding package. The $1 million earmark joins $5.5 million already committed by the USDA. Support is growing. UBALT unveiled its Master of Science in Artificial Intelligence for Business, which is launching this fall. It's the first program of its kind in Maryland. It prepares graduates to ethically deploy AI and machine learning for greater productivity and innovation across enterprises. Bowie State became only the third HBCU nationally to offer a PhD in counselor education and supervision, cementing its leadership in combating our nation's mental health crisis. Frostburg State is expanding its environmental portfolio. Its new undergrad degree in environmental science serves as a pathway to the Master's in Environmental Management, which was launched last year in partnership with UMSEs. Please note the theme, this persistent theme of partnership across these institutions to enrich what we offer. UMGC launched an accelerated MBA this year, listening to its students who want faster time to degree completion and lower out-of-pocket costs. Towson University and the universities at Shady Grove just announced last week a collaboration to address the ongoing teacher shortage in Montgomery County. So TU will offer a BS in elementary education and special education at USG geared to paraprofessionals who are already working in the classroom. And USG will pay whatever tuition cost isn't covered by the Montgomery County school system. Again, just a terrific partnership addressing something that I know Regent Leggett focuses on with me, the teacher shortage. 2 programs launching at USM at Southern Maryland highlight that center's dual role. A master's in special education offered by Bowie State grows USMSM's work in educating Southern Maryland students for high-demand careers in their region. And a master's in test and evaluation of autonomy from the University of Maryland's Clark School raises the center's profile, our center there, in autonomous systems R&D and workforce development. So all this academic growth parallels the physical growth of our campuses. Highlights from the past year. Coppin State cut the ribbon on its new College of Business. It's the first new building to open at Coppin since 2015. Spectacular building. Frostburg, just a few months ago, opened its $82 million Education and Health Sciences Center, ribbon cut by the governor. Towson launched a $150 million renovation of Smith Hall. The University of Maryland opened its one-of-a-kind National Quantum Laboratory in partnership with IonQ. UMES broke ground on its Agricultural Research and Education Center, supported with nearly $30 million in state and federal funding. At UMB, the nearly complete 4 MLK Tower, a grand entrance to Baltimore City, coming from 95 or 295 into the city on MLK. That's going to add dozens of new biotech companies to the university's biopark, which is already Baltimore's biggest bioscience cluster. And with Greater Baltimore, UMB named a federal, with Greater Baltimore together, we had a partnership of UMB, Coppin, UMBC, and Towson win federal tech hub designation in predictive healthcare. UMCES launched its Chesapeake Global Collaboratory, exploiting big data and advanced cyber infrastructure to shape environmental action that's more nimble, transparent, democratic. The University of Maryland, UMB, and the University of Maryland Medical System launched the Institute for Health Computing. It opened in North Bethesda. The Institute uses, and you've heard about this, advanced computing to improve care and outcomes across patient demographics and hopefully close health equity gaps. UBalt inaugurated the Multidisciplinary Center for Advancing Prevention Excellence, supporting communities in improving mental health and community health by tackling underlying issues that predict substance use and behavioral challenges. Together, UMBC and UMB are creating a $4 million NIH accelerator to grow faculty-developed technologies in biomedicine and life sciences. University of Maryland College Park launched the Artificial Intelligence Interdisciplinary Institute, supporting collaborative faculty research and experiential learning in AI. UMBC is part of a national effort to improve pathways for women of color in tech, a program of the National Academy of Science. This consortium relies on its member institutions, all leaders in diversifying technical fields, to share best practices and build the evidence base for what works. Moving to grants and contracts, I'll relay a few of many new grants and contracts supporting our research and training. Happily, there is no way I can reprise everything over last year that's worthy of our attention. Please, I direct you to the written report, which is also, as I've said, inadequate to the task. UMBC won funding as part of Affirming Multivocal Humanities, an $18 million Mellon Foundation initiative supporting innovative scholarship and teaching on race, ethnicity, gender, and sexuality. An open works makerspace is coming to Coppin State, supported by $2 million in federal funding. This facility will give Coppin State students and faculty access to an industrial co-working space and high-tech tools. As climate change accelerates extreme weather events, UMD has joined a national consortium to improve weather prediction and train the next generation of atmospheric scientists. College Park is also taking part in a $5 million NASA grant to explore a satellite mission to map climate change. But the university's biggest news so far might be a new federal contract which is supporting its Applied Research Lab for Intelligence and Security, ARLIS. It's worth $500 million, $500 million. It's the largest research contract in the University of Maryland's history. Congratulations, President Pines. You know, a few times a year, the national higher ed rankings come out, and I try to dutifully report on them. You know, the joke is that rankings really don't matter until you're at the top. And every year, we're at the top. So I'm not going to rehash all the rankings, but there are honors that our universities earn every year that mean a lot to them and that reflect who we are as a system, what we value, what we stand for, and give evidence to our march to preeminence. This year, the NSA validated UMGC as a national center of academic excellence for its cybersecurity program. The Military Times ranked UMGC #1 among online and hybrid universities in educating veterans, and #1 overall in employing them. Frostburg just won the military-friendly school designation for the 13th straight year. For the third straight year, UMES led the country's HBCUs with the highest student pass rate on the National Pharmacy Licensure Exam. Last week, the NCAA's MEAC conference announced that UMES has the conference's highest academic progress rate, and that for the third straight year, Coppin posted the conference's top graduation rate. We do right by our athletes. Seems to me we prepare them for life. The USM at Hagerstown was named Small Business of the Year by the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, a real testimony to what our center in Hagerstown means for that community. Secretary Jake Day was here yesterday, our Secretary of Housing for the state, and he was very familiar with the impact of our center, Jacob Ashby, on Hagerstown. You know, that regional center gives back in myriad ways to its community. $80,000 in scholarship, which it raised at a function to give local students last year. This Pride Month, June is Pride Month, it's fitting that I acknowledge the University of Maryland College Park for its inclusion on Newsweek's top workplaces for LGBTQ employees. It follows the University of Maryland spot some weeks ago in the magazine's top workforce for women. These recognitions matter. They're emblematic, as I said, of who we are and what we value. Excellence, inclusiveness, always striving for more. Now let me say this was a challenging spring. I know it was, you know it was. Our universities are still dealing with the federal government's regrettable FAFSA rollout. our financial aid officers, admission officers, student affairs staff, our presidents are still hard at work serving the students who, because of that, continue to need our help. And we are resolute in that regard, despite the complexities of FAFSA. We remain dedicated to our foundational principles stated in our strategic plan: access, affordability, inclusion. We're not going to let FAFSA get in the way. And yes, we're still raw from a spring that saw anger and suffering and pain on our campuses and many other places, protests, demonstrations. But again, we are resolute. Our job is exactly the following: to educate for democracy, to educate for citizenship, to prepare leaders who can make good and productive change, like the students we heard from today, to provide the space on our campuses to engage with one another across our differences and connect people who have the desire, the ability, and the empathy to solve problems, to solve our most persistent, most complex challenges worldwide. That's what we are made to do, but of course it doesn't mean it's easy. So I'm going to ask our university leaders to share my gratitude with the people who deserve our gratitude, your people, your faculty and your staff, and of course the students whose unflagging dedication to our students this spring leaves me in awe of their care and their compassion and their unfaltering fidelity to our most important mission. Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Chancellor. Do we have any questions or comments for the Chancellor?
Thank you.
Seeing none, we'll move on to the Council. Of University System Staff, Dr. Patricia. Right.
Chair Gooden, Chancellor Perman, Regents, USM Presidents, good morning. I'd first like to thank President LaPree and her staff for a delightful evening full of wonderful views, good conversation, and absolutely delicious food. Your chef certainly deserves every one of his 16 medals. As always, for my report for you today is provided in the packet, but there are a few things from the report I'd like to highlight and a few additional comments. We have made it to an end of another year, and this year passed with some long days and some quick months. I want to acknowledge the many staff and faculty who helped aid students in ensuring their voices were heard regarding the Hamas-Israel war. We have incredible communities on our campuses where the diversity that is our strength also gives way to any conflict around the globe manifesting on our campuses. I staffed several demonstrations as a monitor to ensure that peace was kept and free speech was honored. I learned two important lessons from my time doing this. First is that our students are in pain, and they want to be heard, even if they don't have their exact demands met. Even though we've made it to summer, I'm a little worried this will be back next year. But second, I learned that our success in having our campuses not devolve into chaos was largely in part due to some key staff members' relationships with students. We could be successful because we already knew these members of our community, had a shared respect with them, and an ability to be honest and caring in our enforcement of policy. To the staff and faculty who made this possible, I hope you know that you are appreciated. In terms of CUS itself, I feel that we had a good year. We made progress in advancing ombuds access for all of our campuses, received the Chancellor's support in removing duplicative fees for faculty and staff taking advantage of tuition remission, And by August, I will have a proposal for a new Board of Regents staff awards process for non-exempt staff. We hope this change, long overdue, will increase awards access for non-exempt staff to the awards process. For this year's staff awards, we received 35 packets in total, 27 exempt and 8 non-exempt. We almost doubled our non-exempt submissions over last year. So I'd like to thank College Park, Salisbury, UMES, Towson, and UMBC who helped make this happen. Our review committee has identified 9 extraordinary staff who would like to submit for your review today during closed session. We appreciate your patience as we navigated this process and added this to your agenda today. CUS will have 2 more meetings for this term, and I will return to Salisbury next week for our final in-person meeting of the year. I know the members of CUS are excited to make the journey, and despite traffic on 50 and the Bay Bridge, I am eager to return to this beautiful campus as well. I have included in my notes the schedule of meetings for the 24-25 session and look forward to visiting many of your campuses again and learning more about others virtually. I've greatly enjoyed working with you all this year. I appreciate your kindness and listening ears and how so many of you have acknowledged the value that staff bring to the USM. We're a group whose contribution to campus can often be easily overlooked, but it is critical to the success of our institutions. Thank you for all you do as well, leading with integrity, wanting the best for the USM and our individual campuses. Leadership has many challenges, but I'm grateful for the privilege of working with you and for the trust staff have placed in me to do so. Thank you all. I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions for Dr. Patricia? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now move on to the Council of University System Presidents. Dr. Breaux.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm very pleased to give the report this morning for the Council of University System Presidents, but beforehand, again, good morning, Chair Gooden, Chancellor Perman, Regents, and guests, and a very special warm welcome to Regent Yvette Lewis. It's great to see you and have you join the Board of Regents. Chancellor, I do want to thank you for your report and your kind comments and your recognition of the efforts and the achievements that have transpired during this academic year. I know I can speak for my colleagues in knowing and sharing with you, we will certainly take back those comments to our campuses, and thank you for that recognition. Before giving my report, I'd also like to acknowledge and thank President Lynn LaPrey and the Salisbury campus community for the wonderful warm welcome, and I echo the earlier comments about the food, and it was just outstanding. So please pass along our kind regards and big thank you, especially for the dessert last night. I think that deserves an award on its own, so thank you. Since the April Board of Regents meeting, CUS met on May 6th and June 3rd. And at the May 6th meeting, the presidents, along with the shared governance chairs and regional higher education center directors, received updates on 3 proposed policy changes: the policy on appointment, rank, and tenure of faculty, the policy on student classification for admissions and tuition purposes, and the policy on USM procurement and approval of contracts. The presidents and chancellor discussed campus climate pertaining to freedom of expression, activity related to the Israel, Gaza, and divestment issues, and the discussion affirmed the Council's commitments to freedom of expression and to the safety of members of the community through upholding university policies and safety protocols. The Council also discussed the MHEC program approval process in light of the recently signed legislation and the status of the test optional admissions practices across the system. The meeting concluded with updates on the capital improvement program and system-funded construction program draft budgets and on operating budgets, DMB funding, and salary actions. On June 3rd, the Council received an update and provided feedback on the USM Brand Marketing Initiative and discussed MHEC's Maryland College Application Campaign Application Fee Waiver Initiative. The Council was also apprised of the Consolidated Bargaining Agreement with AFSCME and discussed House Bill 678, which supports targeted recruitment in communities of interest in Maryland public higher education. At the conclusion of the meeting, the council gave support for the continuation of a president to serve in the role of the Council of University System Presidents. And I do want to acknowledge the support that I received from my colleagues and the trust that you have given to me to honor and serve as the chair of the Council of University System Presidents. So thank you, my dear colleagues. And that completes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Breaux? Seeing none, thank you. And we'll move on to the University System of Maryland Student Council. And Regent Parker will present the report today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge President LaPree and her staff for hosting our final board meeting here at Salisbury University. The hospitality is amazing, and it's definitely noted, so thank you. And so today, I'll be speaking on behalf of the USM Student Council President, Genevieve Gambier, who was unable to be with us here today. So it reads, good morning, Chair Gooden, Chancellor Perman, and the Board of Regents and University Presidents. In May, we celebrated 12 students who were awarded a Board of Regents Student Excellence Scholarship across 4 categories. I want to thank Chair Gooden and all the regents who were able to attend and show support to the awardees, and Chancellor Perman for hosting the ceremony at Hidden Waters. We are very excited to continue this program in the future. We have had 2 general meetings since the last Board of Regents meeting. A day before the May meeting, some representatives asked for a revote on the resolution for calling for USM institutions to divest from arms-producing companies. In order to comply with Robert's rules, a representative had to request for a motion to add this item to the agenda. That motion failed. At the end of the meeting, there was a request for a revote on this resolution to take place asynchronously. However, that motion was eventually tabled. The resolution on international graduate student housing needs was also voted on in May and passed unanimously. The document has been attached to this report, and I have submitted it to Associate Vice Chancellor Dr. Zakia Lee for consideration by the USM office. I hope to return with updates on this resolution in the following term. Additionally, USMSC elections took place, and below is the leadership team for 2024 to 2025. Genevieve Gambier, University of Maryland College Park, President. Arshalan Siddiqui, University of Maryland College Park, Vice President of Graduate Affairs. Meghna Chandrasekaran, University of Maryland Baltimore County, Vice President of Undergraduate Affairs. Earlier in June, we held a special meeting. The purpose of this meeting was to vote on 2 motions. 1, to take the motion from the previous meeting off the table, and if that passes, 2, to hold an asynchronous vote on the divestment resolution. This meeting was not to vote on the resolution itself. The first motion did not pass, so that concluded our business for this term. I look forward to receiving more training on Robert's Rules this summer, which will be very helpful for shared governance.
Any questions for Regent?
Almost sorry. Sorry. Some additional updates include meeting with Chad Muntz, who shared the USM office's plan to review the current Board of Regents policy on tuition and update it to better reflect the system's current goals related to access, affordability, and achievement. Earlier this month, I shared the materials with student representatives for feedback via survey. Finally, I wanted to share a brief overview of results from shared governance surveys that was sent out to student representatives. There were submissions from 8 institutions with greater graduate school representation than undergraduate. Questions covered general satisfaction with shared governance, communication with campus officials, interactions with senior administrators, decision-making, meet and confer, and student fees. Overall, satisfaction with the state of shared governance on campuses was rated 5.6 out of 10. Over half of respondents believed senior administrators are supportive of student involvement in the shared governance process. Over half of respondents believe senior administrators are available to discuss student concerns with student leadership. More than 3/4 of respondents had a good working relationship with their administrators directly responsible for undergraduate or graduate student organizations. However, over half do not believe that senior administrators take explicit steps to address and or mitigate problems brought by student leadership. Over half do not believe that senior administrators utilize student involvement appropriately in planning major institutional changes. The satisfaction rating for Meet and Confer is only 5.8 out of 10. We are grateful that the Chancellor has agreed to meet with the Vice President of Graduate Affairs and some graduate student government representatives to discuss these topics further, and we look forward to that discussion. As this term comes to an end, I want to sincerely thank everyone in this meeting for the opportunity to share reports on behalf of the USM Student Council. I would also like to extend infinite gratitude to Regent Halal for all her leadership. We will greatly miss you at our meetings and wish you all the best with your future pursuits. Best regards, Benabi Gambier, and this concludes her remarks. I'm done. This concludes her remarks.
That concludes your report. All right. Any questions for Regent Parker? Seeing none, thank you for your report. The next order of business is the consent agenda, decisions regarding which items. Oh, sorry, I'm moving us along here. The Council of System Faculty, Dr. Haverbeck.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, and I promise to be quick. Good morning, Chair Gooden, Chancellor Perman, USM Regents, and Presidents. Thank you for having me this morning. I hope that you all had a wonderful ending to the semester. I know that it was a long ending for some of us, and the faculty worked really, really hard to end this semester, as I know that all of you did. So thank you so much for having a great ending, ceremonies, graduations, and all of the good stuff that we look forward to all year. We had our last QSIF meetings on April 25th and May 15th. April 25th marked our first meeting in person at a university campus since COVID-19, so that was really exciting. Wow. I would like to thank President LaPree for having us, and I was so sad to miss last night because of the camaraderie, but now my stomach's even sadder because it sounds like there was a lot of great food and fun. It was the first thing that people said to me today when I walked in was, "Oh, you missed last night. It was great." So thank you for hosting us again, and thank you so much for hosting QSIF. It was wonderful. I would also like to thank the Senate chairperson, Dr. Deneen Long-White, for also helping us plan and organize that visit. Our second meeting was on May 15th and was held virtually. Chancellor Perman visited us and gave updates and answered questions. Thank you. In addition to our usual reports, Associate Vice Chancellor for Decision Support and Chief Analytics Office, Chad Muntz, came to our meeting with his team to discuss the USM board policy on tuition. We also had the Legislative Affairs Committee pass a resolution regarding the art policy that has already been discussed, and faculty concerns shared and passed a mental health white paper that was a carryover from last year. We have also completed the shared governance survey this year. We had 27 responses, which I thought was a pretty good turnout because we asked for the Senate chairs to fill it out with their Senate Executive Committee members. So that would be probably on average 4 people per campus, but some Senate executive committees are smaller, and some people just had 2 people that filled it out. The Rules Committee passed the Constitution changes, and they are going through the next step of approvals, which means that soon you will be seeing these. And Dr. Allison Rinn, Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs, shared updates at both of our meetings from the USM and answered all of our questions. Thank you. We're looking forward to next year and continuing our work. I'd like to also give you a few updates on policy, on the committees and what they have been doing. The Education Policy Committee had a successful showcase, which was entitled AI Conference Incorporating Generative AI into Learning Experiences. This was held by Zoom on Friday, April 26. The event was organized by the Kirwan Center, QSIF, Maryland Online, and Montgomery College. It was very well attended and had over 550 registered participants. The focus was based on how college and university faculty across the state are adapting their assignments and learning activities to meet the challenges of generative AI. For those who couldn't attend, they were able to get a recording of it. And as we've heard earlier today, this is very important for all of our campuses. I actually just had my first AI assignment turned into me 3 days ago. So I'm not sure what to do with that, but it's usually a drawing assignment where somebody would draw something and it was created through generative AI. So I think that these showcases are really helping faculty figure out, what do we do with these next steps. The Faculty Affairs Committee shared a mental health white paper, as I had mentioned, and this was approved and has been sent forward. The committee is continuing their work on campus safety and personnel support. The Legislative Affairs Committee has been working on resolutions that were already discussed, and a resolution regarding the art policy was passed. The Research Committee worked on the first annual Maryland Spring Stem Cell Symposium and Workshop, which was co-hosted by CUSIF and chaired by Dr. Janowski, and he's a CUSIF member. The symposium and workshop was an enormous success, with opening remarks by Chancellor Perman and a closing ceremony by the delegate of the Maryland Assembly, Kathy Forbes. The committee was very proud that CUSIF was one of 4 bodies co-hosting this event. They are also continuing their work on inter-campus research portals and on ways in which we can continue to welcome foreign-born researchers. The Rules and Membership Committee passed the Constitution changes, and they have also worked to have our first election that was completely online in a hybrid format. And these things sound like something that's small, but they are not. They take a lot of coordination. So that was a great end to the year. I would like to thank everybody in this room, the Board of Regents, Chair Gooden, Chancellor Perman, the presidents, for your continued support of CUSIF and all that we do, and the faculty and students. We are going to continue next year, and I hope that we have some new initiatives that we're working on, but we're excited to continue working with you. I'd like to also thank all of the CUSIF members, the executive committee, and especially the committee chair people. They put a lot of work into CUSIF, and I very much appreciate it. That is the conclusion of my remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Haverback. Any questions for Dr. Haverback? Seeing none, thanks for your report.
Thank you.
Now, we will move to the consent agenda. Decision regarding which items to include on the consent agenda were made by me and the committee chairs. However, any regent may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda for separate review and discussion. Before I move approval of the consent agenda, I ask if there are any items that any region would like removed from the consent agenda for separate review and discussion. Seeing none, I move approval of all items on the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries, and we do have a quorum, I was advised by Denise. The next order of business is the committee reports. The committee of the whole, we have one item on the committee on education policy and student life. Vice Chancellor Wynn will share a strategic plan update specifically focused on alternative credentials and innovative pathways. This is an information item. Dr. Wynn, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Gooden, and good morning, everybody. Happy to be here and happy to share this information with you. It's really important that we start to talk on a more regular basis about the implementation of the strategic plan, and this is just a small part of the strategic plan, but I think it really gives us insight to a lot of the things we heard today about artificial intelligence that the faculty are thinking about as well, and so it's very important that we start to discuss this work. I've shared this presentation with over a dozen individuals and groups so far this spring and have received feedback and made changes and look forward to sharing with you and receiving your feedback today. Just to start as a reminder on the strategic plan, there are 5 main areas, And what we did was we worked with Huron Consulting to pull out information related to two pieces of the strategic plan that the board, as well as the campuses, identified as critically important to moving our work forward. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today, realizing that the strategic plan is much bigger than these two small pieces. So what are they? Today we are going to talk a little bit about something within Priority 1 on academic excellence and innovation, specifically Strategic Plan Goal 1.7, which is about innovative pathways for working professionals. And in a moment, I'm going to bring up a slide that gives you some definitions on innovative pathways, credentials, certifications, and badges. And this is in the materials as well, so to help us all sort of level set on the same definitions. The other priority is under Priority 2 on access, affordability, and achievement related to Strategic Plan Goal 2.3 and developing innovative education programs resulting in new credentials. Again, we are learning how rapidly how technology can change our world, and we need to engage with that. And higher education isn't always the most fast-moving enterprise, and so we need to work on that together. Although these are different priorities and different goals, they do share objectives. We need to broaden access to learning. There is no enrollment cliff if we welcome more people into our institutions who have not traditionally been given access. We need to keep tuition costs down. I know that's a difficult thing today as the world gets more and more expensive, but how can we create efficiencies and assure that students still receive high quality education, but that we can do it at a more cost-effective way? We need to be flexible, and we need to apply their learning to the world of work and to the world of work that we don't even know exists yet today. We need to get them into the labor market quickly, and that's critically important. And we have to remove barriers from everything our students do. Let me just briefly share the slide on definitions. Again, pathways that are innovative are outside that traditional Bachelor of Science, Master of Arts, PhD kind of pathway. And these could be stackable. Our colleagues at UMGC, I know, shared a video with all the Regents last week, which demonstrated one way in which this can work. And we have other campuses that are starting to do this. And again, what I'm going to talk about today is how do we pull that together as a system? One of the questions that came to the presenters from UMGC was about that. How do we bring this work together as a system and share that work? Alternative credentials, again, UMGC talked about this with the military. The military's done this for a long time with the American Council on Education, and ACE has provided some level setting on what sort of credentials and activities that have occurred that can be used towards academic credit. But I really am intrigued by this new process they're trying with rank, and what does that mean? And again, with all of this use of artificial intelligence, certainly there are cautions, but it's important that we have people who are experienced in this work as part of the work of building that sort of step where we take the credentials, perhaps artificial intelligence, and can, again, make our work more efficient and help us get somewhere where students receive a benefit. And that's the bottom line. Finally, we have certifications, which formally recognize work that you do and skills that you have. And badges are just a visual representation. I'm sharing up here one badge from Coppin State University's very successful program on pathways to professions that has been there for quite a while. So again, now we sort of have an idea where we are going. We already do this work in the system. Again, we hear about it certainly most frequently with UMGC, but we have done this work in the central office with interprofessional education. College Park obviously does a lot of work on certifications as well as badges. Coppin State, as I mentioned, has its Pathways to Success. We've got EdCore apprenticeships, and Bowie State has a very successful portfolio program. So this work is happening throughout the system, and this is just a small example. One of the things we asked here on Consulting to do for us was to look at what other systems were doing. How are they pulling together a lot of this work? And what they did was, instead of sort of listing or ranking, we asked what are sort of the big picture models we can see out there. We've got some systems that we would describe as highly proactive. Others, on the other end of the spectrum, much more independent and ad hoc. And then within the middle, we have responsive, moderately proactive. Some of the systems we looked at were University of Texas system, University System of Georgia, North Carolina, UMass, so a variety of systems that are somewhat like us. University of Texas, you might have read about, they've purchased Coursera for all their students, faculty, staff, and alumni. That is not an inexpensive proposition, and when I ask how they do that, they say, well, we have oil wells, and so oil money. It's valuable as heck for alumni who are trying to change careers and are able to take advantage of this system. We've also seen other systems that have a coordinated approach on micro-credentials, have much more centralized staff. So we have examples out there of how this work is happening. One of the things that we really want to dig into a little more deeply as we move forward this year is how are they evaluating this? So you've given everybody Coursera. What's that mean? Who's using it? What are they getting out of that? So these are the kinds of things that I want us to think about deeply, is not just to jump in the water on everything new that's out there, but to step back for just a moment, because this technology changes so quickly, we can't step back for too long, and see what's most effective and what will be most effective for our students, our learners in the state of Maryland. So one of the things we'll be doing this year is looking at how can we organize this work, and that's what I'm going to talk about in my remaining couple of slides. As I said, we could be a hub. That's the beauty of a system. We serve as a hub. We can draw in the great work being done at UMGC, but also at our campuses, in the Kerwin Center, and at our RHECs. I know we've heard quite a bit about the work at the RHECs, in particular the hub work that is going on at Shady Grove, which has really evolved over the past year and has hit the ground running. So how are we going to bring that together to ensure that our students get those badges, certificates, and micro-credentials, that every time the chancellor or I go and talk to them, they say, we'd like this. We need more of this. This is going to help us in the world of work. So we've got a big high-level roadmap. This is just one slide. We've got lots of plans for the coming year. We're going to begin to engage a task force in this work. A lot of the work will evolve out of the Kerwin Center, where we've put some additional resources to do this. We're going to track metrics throughout the process. We've already got a lot of these metrics listed. So then we can start to analyze our data, pilot some new programs, and move forward to scaling and growing. So we're excited about getting started on this work. Again, paying attention throughout the whole process on key success metrics, people, quality assurance, funding. Again, a strategic plan is only effective if there's resources available. And I know that's a challenge, but we can do that work. How do we establish new processes and procedures? How do we track data? And finally, what kind of partnerships can we make? And so we have a lot of work to do over the next 4 years. What we've been doing this spring is socializing. Again, we've talked to faculty, students, staff, connected with our community college partners. So we've had a lot of conversations about this work. We've refined things. We have the plan from here on, and we're making adaptations. We've been sort of talking to folks on campus who will be leaders in this work and seeking their support and adapting as requested. So this is concluding my report, but in no way does it conclude the work. We will be back to talk to you about our successes in this work and lots of other pieces of the strategic plan in the future. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Dr. Wren, This is strategically very important, and it's the direction that education seems to be going. But currently, we're funded through full-time traditional students. And so how do you see that evolving, or is it evolving?
Yeah, that's a great question because most universities are facing that. You know, it's sort of the FTE model, the, you know, who's in the seat model. That's something that we have to look at, see who's doing it effectively, and how can we convince our state to do a better job at that. Again, we see this interest in short-term Pell for workforce training, which didn't move forward. We see these competing interests out there. And we have to understand that higher education has to evolve, and it's evolving whether it wants to or not, with students taking dual enrollment courses, coming to us with different kinds of skills and things. And we have to figure out how to effectively evaluate those skills, give them credit for those skills, or they'll go somewhere else. Someone else will invent a style of higher education without us that will allow students to enter the world of work more easily and more efficiently and more cost effectively. So that is something we are going to have to work on, and hopefully we can partner with other states, either through groups like NASH or ASCU, and bring this work together for other systems to scale.
Yeah. Anwar?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
So my question is slightly different when you talk about the alternative pathways. I know that calculus has been a huge problem for the students in getting through, and some of the institutions have come up with alternative pathways. They've started doing statistical maths so that encourage students to go through and get their degrees in different programs they want to get it. Is Maryland also have adopted the alternative pathways using statistical maths versus calculus?
This is an ongoing conversation right now. And, you know, one of the things that's very interesting as we dig more deeply into the blueprint and sort of the pathway from career and college ready, we're having to think about this. And this is something I had to think about quite a bit in my previous system, where there was really a hard line drawn in terms of intermediate algebra or algebra 2 for the preparation for students. One thing that's critical to understand is we know calculus is vital for certain career fields. Absolutely. Does it need to be taught the way it's always been taught is the question we should be asking. Are there alternatives for getting people to calculus that don't involve years upon years of work to get there? There's no shortcuts, I'm sure, in calculus, but are there ways we can use artificial intelligence, again, to help students get where they need to go? But we also have to recognize that not everybody needs calculus. There are certainly many career pathways that don't demand calculus and allow for other ways of meeting a quantitative background. But we don't want to shortchange people early on.
But I mean, that needs to start in the high school. I mean, I'm sure people get discouraged there and leave even
Right.
the
And
system.
we're working closely. We have more, with the new secretary, Carrie Wright, we've been working a lot more closely on math and sort of bringing the higher education perspective to the public schools. And again, this is something that's certainly very important to Chancellor Perman and is important to us, is ensuring that higher education is a partner with the public schools. We don't just tell them what to do, we support them. We train the teachers. And so if we're worried about how education is going in the public schools, we train the teachers. And so we need to work on that. So again, this is something we are paying attention to very closely.
Other questions for Dr. Wren? Seeing none. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Wren. The next report is the Committee on Finance, which will be presented by Regent Seibel. We have 2 items which are action items. Regent Seibel?
Chair, The first item on the agenda is the USM fiscal year 2025 operating budget. I would first like to take this opportunity to thank the Governor, the Senate President, and the Speaker of their House for their support of the university system. I know this has been a real team effort. The Chancellor, his leadership team, Susan Lawrence, everyone out in Annapolis, the presidents, your state relations teams, our students, faculty, and staff councils, thank you all. Chancellor Perman and Senior Vice Chancellor Herbst have done a great job throughout the year of keeping the board informed on the strategic direction and progress of the budget. Turning to this item, this represents the operating budget as approved by the legislature during this session. Each year, the board is asked to approve the budget prior to July 1st. Of the $7.5 billion total budget, the state funding is approximately $2.3 billion. This is a combination of general fund appropriations and the Higher Education Investment Fund, plus HBCU settlement funds. This year's state funding increased 4.4%, or $98 million, compared to the fiscal year 2024 base budget. The increase in state general funds is greatly impacted by the salary enhancements for faculty and staff initially held in the DBM personnel budget. These funds are important as they support the pay and benefit increases which help us to attract and retain the faculty and staff who drive our excellence. Highlights of the budget include $142.9 million for salary increases, which is 3% COLA, 2.5% merit, plus retention funding. Fringe benefit increases of $7.3 million. HBCU's lawsuit settlement of $35.5 million. UMES's agriculture state match of $4.8 million. Funding for legislative mandates of $7.6 million, and a reduction of $55 million for an adjustment to the position turnover rate to 6%. I will pause here for any questions.
Any questions for Regent Seibel?
I have one. One other thing I've noted in the operating side, especially on the maintenance and management, and I'm thankful to Mark Beck for sending some of the information. It seems like we have a number of real estates or buildings institutions have, and we do the inspections of that across the state in different institutions. And one thing I've noted that there's about 10 or 11 different softwares that have been used using the computerized maintenance management system for work order system. And there are about 6 or 7 companies which does. And in fact, I was surprised to see UMCP's facilities group. They focused on the Hagerstown as well as the Southern Maryland. They do there, but they don't do their own facilities maintenance or condition assessments of the building or coming up with. So when I look at those things, there's definitely an opportunity from the budgeting perspective is to look at that and see how that could be done internally. I mean, it's the same thing. We do it on a regular basis, on an annual basis. A certain amount of buildings get inspected. You get results from there, and then based on that, you develop your capital program. So I just feel it's an opportunity where this is a function that's been done on a routine basis by each institution. Why can't it be internalized and be done internally instead of spending the money with the consultants and money with the softwares and variety of software? So that's my one suggestion.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll ask Kathleen to take an action because I don't see Denise over there. That we will take a look at that. We'll set up a session for Anwar for you with Ellen and Mark, and we'll do a follow-up in that manner.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Regent Seibel? Seeing none, this is an action item, so may I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The motion carries.
Thank you. The second item is the fiscal year 2025 system-funded construction program request. Today, we are recommending the fiscal year 2025 system-funded construction program, which is funded by the USM auxiliary bonds and institutional cash appropriations as outlined in the item. Let me remind you that the approval is for the single asking year budget fiscal year 2025, while a full 5-year plan is required by board policy. The request for approval is for $75,857,000 for fiscal year 2025 as part of a $314,359,000 plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2029. Each project's financial viability and institutional necessity have been thoroughly evaluated. The fiscal impact varies by project and is based on the institution's strategy to repay the debt. The SFCP will go live once the board votes on this submission. As is our practice, where there are opportunities for public-private partnerships, Senior Vice Chancellor Herbst and her team will bring those to us as they mature throughout the year for individual review and consideration. The 3 ongoing P3 projects that have previously come before the board are listed in the chart. This is because P3 projects typically impact the amount of available USM debt capacity for auxiliary bond projects. I would like to emphasize that Chancellor Perman and his team have placed a high priority on ensuring affordable student residences across all campuses. During our committee meeting, Senior Vice Chancellor Herbst highlighted their ongoing efforts in collaboration with the 2 construction management service centers at UMCP and UMB. Their aim is to secure the best value for USM's projects, with modular construction being one avenue under consideration. I will pause here for any questions.
Yeah.
So, one more question. One thing I just was looking at the information. What I did not see that cogeneration plant, which was approved for the University of Maryland College Park. I mean, I'm sure that has to be paid at some point, and I didn't see that in that list of the projects. How will that be handled?
Ellen?
Thank you, and good morning, everyone.
Morning.
On the table that was included with the item, there's a section in the middle that's in pink, at least on my sheet. And the second of the 3 projects highlighted is the Next Gen Energy project, excuse me. That's okay, that's fine.
Any other questions while we have Ellen here at the podium? All right, thanks, Ellen. Seeing none, I'll move it. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Hearing none, the motion passes. Well, our next item is an information item, and Regent Wood is going to provide an update on the prison education program.
You want me here or up at the podium?
Probably the podium. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
As you may recall, Regent Herr and I last provided an update to the board last September and 2 earlier updates to the board in September and November of 2022. So where are we now? Last January, the system embarked on a strategic alliance partnership with the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services with Julep Consulting. Julep is a consulting firm with vast relevant experience in higher education, in particular prison education. This was done to further our efforts toward shaping a comprehensive statewide plan for prison education program. This plan delineates a strategic roadmap and, most importantly, a compelling case for future governmental and philanthropic resources. Currently, two system schools, UBALT and Bowie State University, offer degree programs at Jessup Correctional Institution. This positions our system in partnership with the Department of Corrections as a formidable advocate for prison education and reentry programs. Additionally, Towson University is successfully moving through the complex multi-state process to gain approval to offer a bachelor's degree at the Maryland Correctional Training Center in Hagerstown. There are a total of 16 Maryland prisons where bachelor degrees are appropriate, and 5 of those are currently participating, and 11 more are on the pending list as eligible. The goal is to expand and strengthen the capacity of our constituent institutions, together with others, in delivering high-quality prison education initiatives. Central to this plan is the imperative of widening access to higher education among incarcerated and previously incarcerated individuals, thus fostering pathways for employment opportunities, societal reintegration, and rehabilitation, and most importantly, providing hope for a better future. So, the recent announcement of a MOU between Maryland's Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services and the system marks a critical moment. This is a milestone agreement that required an enormous amount of work and coordination by the system staff, the Maryland Department of Corrections, and others. This plan has been lauded for its transformational potential. This MOU somewhat shortens the lengthy approval process and establishes a groundbreaking platform for Pell Grant-eligible programs across the system, perhaps even setting a national precedent for collaborative ventures between academia and correctional facilities. In fact, we believe that this is the first MOU in the nation between a state Department of Corrections and a prison system and a university system. Currently, legislative efforts exemplifying the Resources in Education for All Prisons Act, which is, for those of you who might want to look, it's House Bill 92 and Senate Bill 620, and it's known as the REAP Act. This act became effective July 1 of this year, underscores Maryland's commitment to elevating the status of prison education, requiring in part, 1, the Department of Corrections to assist incarcerated individuals in assessing federal Pell grants for higher education. 2, requiring the department to set goals for the number of incarcerated individuals in post-secondary locations. And third, to establish tracking systems and forward data to MHEC. Under the guidance of Julep Consulting, a careful analysis of the prevailing landscape has ensued, drawing upon data from diverse stakeholders within Maryland and beyond. Through collaborative engagements, including deliberations with the USM Prison Education Work Group, led by Senior Vice Chancellor Allison Wren and Associate Vice Chancellor Zakiya Lee, in collaboration with our colleagues at Julep Consulting and key stakeholders, a nuanced understanding of challenges and opportunities has emerged. These key insights have produced productive dialogue. The system and its affiliated institutions, Goucher College, State Correctional Services, MHEC, and the Maryland Association of Community College are fostering a collective commitment to advancing correctional education. Informed by these deliberations, we embarked on the formulation of concrete goals, strategies, and an implementation timeline, laying the groundwork for potential governmental and philanthropic funding opportunities. The system, university system, Secretary Carolyn Scruggs and Danielle Cox, Director of Correctional Education, both of the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, and other academic institutions in Maryland, are now poised to chart a course towards a more inclusive and equitable future for Maryland's incarcerated population. Finally, last Thursday, I sent an email out to the board indicating that there were 15,000 incarcerated persons in Maryland, and that 8,000 of those incarcerated individuals were eligible to participate in educational programs. We have discovered that that information, which was published by WJZ Radio and CBS Television, was incorrect. So we are currently trying to assemble the correct information on the number of eligible incarcerated persons, and we will report back upon our findings. So we now know that there is a substantial need, however, and I'm happy to share that we are moving forward towards our goal of increasing access to higher education among incarcerated and previously incarcerated individuals. So that is my report. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Bill? Yes, Yvette?
Can you just tell me how eligibility is determined?
I'm sorry.
How is eligibility determined? You said there were 8,000 that were determined to be eligible to participate in this program. Is there a criteria? What was the criteria, or is it listed somewhere that I just don't have access to?
The 8,000 were determined by were published in a article put out by WJZ News, which was subsequently published by CBS Baltimore News. And we saw that and assumed that they had a correct assessment, and I referred to that 8,000 number in my email. We subsequently learned that that number is not correct, and there is an assessment going on now to try to refine that number and get to a number that is in fact accurate.
Dr. Wren might be able to comment on eligibility.
Can I just give a quick?
Sure.
Yeah, just say. Eligibility would be determined if they had a GED, if they graduated from high school, community college credits, all those things. So we can figure out approximately how many that is, but they do. The Department of Labor actually takes care of the GED work in the prisons. And so we're working closely with them as well.
And each prison has specific criteria, as I recall. And in addition to that, Yvette, and you have to meet certain behavioral kinds of things in order to maintain eligibility.
Yes, and the Department of Corrections has also said that they want one USM or other school in a prison.
Mhm.
So you don't have multiple schools trying to teach in one institution.
Any other questions for, oh, Farah?
Thank you for the update. I just wanted to also comment really quickly. I took a class on incarceration last semester, and the professor who was teaching that class so I'm at UMBC, for those that don't know. And the professor who's teaching that class is also teaching through Goucher at for incarcerated people. And so there's a lot of faculty that have brought it up, at least at UMBC, and I've heard students on other campuses talking about it as well. There's a huge interest to engage with this population and to provide more education opportunities for higher education for them. And there are faculty who already have a lot of existing experience that I think on many of our campuses, and some of our campuses already are offering classes, as I know UBald and Towson too, I believe. So just engaging with the faculty that are already doing this and going out of their way at times to go to other institutions to provide these services as we start to do this transition. And I also wanted to mention, I had read a really interesting article in that class about how there's a lot of universities that also provide tutoring for incarcerated people through students that are currently enrolled at those universities. And so this isn't just an opportunity for faculty to get engaged, but also for students potentially, especially those, like I know Bowie has a criminal justice, like major or minor. So these opportunities for students, I think it's an opportunity for students as well. And I'm really excited about the prospects of this for our incarcerated population. Thank you.
President Smoke, I think you had your first graduating class.
Yes, we currently have we have 45 students at Jessup in our class. Our 2 graduations ago, our graduation speaker was one of the formerly incarcerated individuals, returning citizens. He's now working in the community and applying to the state for a grant to acquire a home that is about 4 blocks away from the university that will provide ongoing education and job assistance to returning citizens. So he's really an outstanding individual and certainly a prime example of the benefits of these types of programs.
Dr. Bro?
Sure, this is on. It's not lighting up. I'll try it again. Is there another one? Yes. All right, there we go. I just wanted to, thank you, President Anderson. I wanted to note that I had the opportunity to visit with our incarcerated students at Jessup. And I'm so pleased that we're moving in this direction. What I found was highly, highly motivated students who were given hope and looking forward, even those who were not designated to be released in any short time. Nonetheless, they were extremely motivated to get their education. And I would just like to acknowledge also Vice Chancellor Wren. They remarked that the system had visited with the correctional. I was at Jessup. And I would encourage the Board of Regents, if you have the opportunity, to visit our students who are incarcerated. I think it will lift your spirits and give you hope for the future that we're on the right path to giving education to individuals who are going to be citizens in our community. And we need to give them that hope and that pathway so that they're able to have meaningful careers. I'm very pleased we had about 20 students I was able to meet with, had a chance to see the facilities that were provided by UBalt, and it's quite exceptional. So we'd like to grow the program. I'm so pleased for this opportunity as I'm hearing that it will be expanded. And just wanted to note that it is quite an exceptional initiative, and just really, really pleased that we're on this pathway.
Thank you, Dr. Bro. Any other comments or thoughts for Bill?
I could make one additional comment. One thing we learned that at Northwestern University, where they have a robust program for prison education, the inmate violence was dramatically reduced because they had something to do while they were incarcerated. and the recidivism rate once a graduate or a student participant is released back into the community is 0.
Well, Bill, thank you for a very informative presentation, and as you can see, we have a very supportive audience that's very interested in this program. So again, thank you for the update. The next 2 items we're going to take together, they're the calendar for 24-25 and 25-26 and 26-27. And so we're trying to get on your schedules really early so that we can get the maximum attendance possible. And so it is in action, so I'll move it. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. And our final item is the resolutions of appreciation for 3 regents who are leaving, Farah, Bob Rao, and Bob Wallace. We will miss you all, and we know you're going to do great things. Maybe Bob not so much, but Farah, you for sure. And so, and so there are resolutions in the notebook from the Board of Regents for each of you, and I do need a motion to approve those.
No.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes.
Can we applaud?
We can. So as we close out this final meeting, I want to wish everyone a restful and fun-filled summer. Take time to rejuvenate. With all of the external events as we close the year and the public session, I would like to take a moment to thank each of you again for a productive year. We are all unique individuals with distinct talents and roles. While we might not always agree on how to approach evolving issues, together we find the best solutions to move our institutions and, in turn, our system forward. Our collective efforts as staff, faculty, presidents, and regents are making a significant impact on our students, the system, and our state. We are collectively bringing our best selves and our shared commitment to advance education and inclusion for all. As the Chancellor noted in his annual report, the outcomes of this commitment is reflected in our improving rankings, our great recognition, our increasing graduation rates, and most importantly, the employability of our students. As we look ahead to the next year and our continued collaboration, I'd like to leave you with this thought. Maya Angelou, a source of great wisdom throughout her life and career, famously said, "I've learned that people will forget what you've said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." So thank you for your dedication and your hard work. And I look forward to seeing you in September. And finally, for all of you who celebrate, have a wonderful Juneteenth holiday next week. So with that, the Open Meetings Act permits public bodies to close their meetings to the public in circumstances outlined in 3-305 of the Act and to carry out administrative functions exempted by 3-303 of the Act. The Board of Regents will now vote to reconvene in closed session. The agenda for the public meeting today includes a written statement with a citation of the legal authority and the reasons for closing the meeting, and a listing of the topics to be discussed. The statement has been provided to the Regents and is posted on the USM's website. May I have a motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is closed. Denise, where is the closed meeting? Okay. All right, so we'll reconvene in, let's say, 10 minutes. No, I'm released. I'm back to the
Oh, that's good.
world.